Hey guys, I'm Caroline from newhorizoncoaching.com and I'm a career coach and job search strategist. And today was kind of an interesting day. The end of the year is approaching and there's so much going on. I have two kids and one of them is 3.5 years old. His name is Ollie. And he had his Christmas party, and to be honest, it's the first time that he really understood the whole concept of Christmas. And it's so much fun just seeing how much he enjoys it. Weird, isn't it? So I really enjoyed the fact of seeing his smile on his face, his belief in Santa Claus, and opening his present for childcare, looking at the man in the red suit, and just like that excitement and that innocence. And it made me actually realize children often really live in the moment, which is so great to see. And that's often something that I forget. I'm so busy and doing that I forget to really enjoy the moment. And talking to a lot of my clients, they find themselves in quite a similar space. They just like rarely stop, pause, look around, and am I really where I want to be? Is this path leading me to where I want to be in a year's time, in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time? And if not, what do I need to do to change that direction? Because people always procrastinate and think like, oh, we'll do that later, I will do that later. But later often is too late. And I can see that more when the older my kids get, the older I get. Which is sometimes really, sometimes you think like, oh, if they just are a little bit older, I can go to the movies with them or go shopping with my daughter. And it's like, no, because basically the older they get, the older I get. Anyway, I would like to invite everybody in my community actually to really take the time and take a moment to stop and pause and look around and to say like, is this where I want to be? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to be in a year's time? What's going to make me happy? And what do I need to change to really get to that point? And whether this means a new job, a new career, very overdue life changes you need to make, and I know a couple of those. They all have one thing in common, and that is you need to take action. So you need to make yourself a promise, no New Year's resolution and stuff like that, just a promise to actually make one change. Change one thing alone that will make a difference to your life, and commit to that and just see that play out. Anyway, moving on from that, that was my insightful thought over the Christmas party of my son. So after that, I was actually reviewing a resume of a guy that I'm offered to review his resume, and he's back in the States, and he has multiple passions, and it really comes through in his resume. And without pigeonholing you, a lot of people have multiple skills or expertise or multiple things to offer there, or you can be a generalist and you don't want to, you don't have a certain expertise in something, you're a jack of all trades, and people often find it difficult and struggle to articulate that, and they say like, whenever I talk to a recruiter, they try to pigeonhole me and they try to push me in one direction, but I don't want that. I want the whole area. And I can kind of have some advice and some tips and strategies for people that have the same, that are experiencing the same thing. So if that is you definitely are going to find value in what am I about to share with you. So in his case, he's actively looking. So I'm going to take that as an example. So it all depends on if you're actively looking, if you have time enough, all the time of the world to look for a job and to apply, or that you really say, I need a job tomorrow. So my strategies are going to be really quick to the ball and really like, if you need a job fast, what should you do? So first of all, it's often when I see a resume, it's not about pigeonholing yourself. It's about being clear about the added value you have for an organization. And it's not easy to write an added value. To be honest, it's something you need to think about, and something that you can't wing, and something that you need to work on. So most of my clients, I advise them to map it all out on a big sheet of paper and to really start thinking, okay, what is my added value? What problem do I solve for an organization? And whether it's offering them different kind of skills, it doesn't really matter. It's about making it clear to the other person what you can bring to the table. Because what a lot of people do is they let the other person make assumptions. Oh, I have done this, so therefore I'm able to do that. And they just like assume that the other person will make the assumption and they leave it with that. And that's not what you need to do. You need to really literally connect the dots and make that and spell that literally out, what added value you can bring. So if you're a jack of all trades or you have plenty of experience, you have to think about, okay, what business goal, what do I increase, what do I decrease, what do I optimize, and so on. Because then you take the nitty-gritty skills out of it and talk more about the big picture stuff. And so that might be actually your added value. So you really have to think about how I position it. If it's not micro and specific expertise that you offer, okay, let's look at that macro and look at the big picture. And that's really where your added value is going to come from. And it's articulating that clearly in your resume, in your cover letter, in your LinkedIn profile, that's what it is. Now, going back to his resume, so I was reviewing his resume and I was looking at like, okay, there are two job positions, two job roles here. And if I'm recruiting for one of those roles, I might, depending on the amount of applicants that I receive, but knowing in this market, you might receive 100 applicants for one specific role, I might just say, park that role, park that resume, and just not give it the full attention it deserves. Because when I park a resume, most of the time it stays there till I find another resume, and then I press delete, unfortunately, reject and delete. So you don't want to be in that space. You want to be in the space that I really get it and I see the uniqueness of of what you have to offer to an organization. So how do you do it? First of all, you go to any job board, whether you're based in the US, whether it's in Australia, in Europe, doesn't matter. It's all the same. You go to a job board and you type in the expertise or the skills you have or the jobs you can do. And you actually just look at how many positions there are. So if it's marketing and graphic design, and you look at all the marketing roles that are advertised, and then you say, okay, this is the salary that they're looking for, these are the skill sets that they're looking for, these are the type of organizations that they're looking for, and you may just categorize them slightly. And then you go to the other side, and then you see graphic design roles. And then you just go and see all the graphic design roles that they're advertising, what they're paying, what type of organizations they are, and you do exactly the same. And then you say like, actually, in an ideal world, I would have both marketing and graphic design. How great would that be? So you make a third column with all the jobs that would be in there. And then you just see, okay, what will offer me the biggest chance in finding a job? What skills do I have to really highlight in my resume? Because if you're actively looking and need a job now and you have multiple skills, that is what's going to get you there the quickest. So you print off then the job descriptions of all the marketing positions and you actually create a resume highlighting your marketing skills. And of course you can't really like ignore the other skills because that's your uniqueness. You can offer marketing with a background in graphic design. Like who wouldn't want that? But if you position the two next to each other, you're going to maybe limit your opportunities that you have available on the job market. So that's basically what you need to do. You need to look like, okay, what's the job market offering me and how and what expertise do I have to offer that I really enjoy, and how can I craft that into a value proposition for an organization that actually they will really like, and that they will value, and they will pay good money for, and that they would actually interview me for. So those are the things that you have to consider when you are considering yourself as like a jack of all trades or a generalist, or you have multiple skills and multiple passions. And what people tend to forget is that almost everybody has multiple skills and multiple things to offer to an organization these days. It's rarely that I see like one straight line in a certain industry, or they have been there for 20, 30 years. But these days you have like people who took a sabbatical, people that actually traveled the world, people who tried different things. And I think that is a little bit of a product of our of the generations lately, is that they experiment, they learn on the online, they learn like in the fields. They have so much more to offer than just like have been in the same role for 20 years and that's it. So it's that, and that's my third point. It's not that it's more difficult to find a job, because that's what people revert quite quickly to. They say like, oh, it's just too hard. The job market is way too competitive and there are so many good candidates out there, which is true, but the job market has changed, and so your approach needs to change, rather than you sit back and you apply online and you cross your fingers, or fingers crossed, that actually you get an invite for an interview, because it simply doesn't work that way anymore. So, and that brings me to the last thing that you might need to do, and that is looking at your job search strategy. Now, in job search strategies, you have a couple of ways of working. You have like a proactive, you have a reactive, and you have a hybrid. Now, those three ways, can need a different approach, and it needs different way of looking for a job. So if you're reactive, that means that you just like sit back, scroll endlessly through all the jobs on Seek, My Career, Stepstone, Monster, whatever it is. You see jobs, you apply, and that's it. If you're if you're proactive, that means that you actively go out there. You say like, look, these are the organizations that I worked for. These are the competitors of the organizations. These are the skills that I have. These are the organizations that would really benefit from my skills and experience, and not not micro, like, but for example, if you have worked in an FMCG company, that you actually look at FMCG organizations, IT or company. If you have worked in an IT company, that you look at IT organizations and so on, that you look at industries and similar positions, and that you're actually going to map out, okay, these are the organizations I'm going to approach proactively to actually see if they have any opportunities for me at the moment. So that's a proactive approach. And a hybrid approach is more the approach of like, okay, a company is looking for a position, so you know there is a vacancy, and basically before you just hit the button apply online, you actually do a little bit of research, who's recruiting, who is a team, you have a little bit of conversations, you see if somebody can refer you, and that's actually how you approach. You have first a conversation with the hiring manager before you submit your application online. Now I will quickly talk you through the process of those three approaches. So the reactive approach, what happens is you apply online, you enter the inbox of an HR, of a recruiter, and you actually go through the process, very structured, formal interview process, and resume screening process. Then the second one, you have like more of a proactive approach. So in proactive approach, you approach the hiring manager directly, and which basically eliminates all of that. You do not have a structured interview, you have a normal conversation, and often they make the role depending on your skills and experience and talents, and they form it, and so you it's not competitive at all because you don't have hundreds of other applicants. So it's a very different approach. But there is a big but, of course. Most people say, oh no, that wouldn't work for me. Believe me, I've seen it all. It works in every single industry and every single area. If you're networking, is always the way to go, no matter what. Whether you're comfortable or not comfortable, that's another question, but it works. So don't give me that. And the third one, the hybrid job search approach, it's basically you know there is a live vacancy, and you know actually you have to do some research. So you're actually going to make yourself stand out a little bit, because you're going to get in contact with the hiring manager before you actually talk to anybody else within the organization. So you increase actually your visibility within the organization, whether it's through a referral, whether you have a confidential conversation before you apply, and so on. So it's basically a more strategic approach than just like having a reactive approach. With all three strategies, you have to do it right, because otherwise you burn bridges and you're not going to be able to win the conversation or win even an interview, nor will you win the job. So having all said that, I hope it gave you a little bit of an insight of if you don't fit into the exact mold that somebody wants to put you in, and this could be a recruiter. We all love them. So then there are different ways. So the first way is to make sure so just to summarize it, to make sure you articulate yourself very clearly on your resume. Don't just wing it or give verbal diarrhea and expect people to actually just read between the lines and, oh, she has done this, therefore she should be able to do this. No, you have to spell it out, clearly articulating it. If you don't know, I'm here to help you. Secondly, what you do is you see what the job market is like, whether there are multiple jobs in one area of your expertise or what you have done in the past, then it might be worth focusing on that area. Then thirdly, you have to really look at your job search strategy and to see if your strategy is more reactive, proactive, or hybrid, and what you can do to diversify your job search strategy. And if you want more information, just let me know and I'll go more in detail in maybe a next video. So just some thoughts when I was reviewing a resume, because the first thing he was saying, like, oh, it's so hard and I don't know how to package it all up. And yes, it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would have a standout resume, and they don't. I know, I've seen tens of thousands of resumes. So I know how important it is to get your message packaged up right and communicated right. And I know it's one of the most difficult things to do, but it will, if done right, and if you spend the time up front to get your core message right, then the rest will just flow, because you will be able to be smooth in an interview. You would actually be a really good fit for the company when you work there, because you have been really authentic in your resume, authentic through the interview process. So everything will just flow through and just click and flow. All right, so this was it for tonight. So I hope you enjoyed, and let me know if you have any questions. If you want to be notified of any Facebook lives that I do when I jump online and make little videos like this, just like subscribe on Facebook or like my page, and you will get notified when I'm live. And if you have a specific question, write it below this video or send me a message, and I'm more than happy come back to you and just like let you know what my opinion would be, or what I would do, or the options that you have, and so on. So yeah, I'm here to share the love. All right, thank you very much, and I'll take off. Bye.